Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the G.55S. And this plane is outright fantastic. In a nutshell, this plane is the Bf109 that I never had in the German tech tree. So, the G.55S is an Italian premium tier 4 battle rating 4.3 fighter plane. It's equipped with three 20mm MG151-20 cannons with 650 rounds in total. Each wing-mounted cannon has 200 rounds and the central mounted cannon can fire 250 rounds. This plane flies like a Bf109 G2 but just without the bad handling. It has good handling and it has no instructor issues. And I think that's the key aspect while I personally love it. Now you might ask the question, is this plane worth it? I say yes. So there is also one further unique characteristic. It is the only single seat, single engine fighter plane in the game that actually can carry a torpedo. I have never used it because that torpedo is overall in handling rather bad. What I don't like is the drop speed of just 301 kilometers an hour and the drop altitude of 120 meters. In the water, the torpedo itself is rather well. It travels with 80 kilometers an hour over a distance of 3 kilometers. And it is a pretty heavy torpedo with 936 kilograms. So we already know this F200/450 torpedoes from the Sparviero bombers that we actually still can admire in the German tech tree. And yeah, all the planes in the German tech tree, the Italian ones, stay there. They were not taken away from those who have it. So currently I have 7 Sparvieros for the Germans and a few other fighters, like 5 in total for the Germans. For the Italians, I have actually grinded through tier 1, 2 and currently I'm at tier 3. And I would do much more if I would have a lot more boosters available and I would have more than just 3 hours of gaming available to me. So that's the status report of my grinding so far. About the patch, there is nothing negative that I can say. I actually think it is so far in the first impressions a very enjoyable patch. What I can tell about how the guns work. 50 cals are strong but not overpowered. The 20mm just work, and yeah, that's all I can say at the moment. And in this respect, yeah, nothing too bad. Now, again about the G.55S. Obviously, it has some drawbacks. First of all, you need altitude. You need altitude to work, but I think that is commonly known. Then you have issues with your engine because it likes to really overheat, and you have to adjust it with manual engine control, and then you can web for a long time. I think there is no direct angle of climbing because it constantly changes. At least around about 3 kilometers altitude you then have to readjust the climbing angle, but you should climb around 300 kilometers an hour. That is so far the most effective way for climbing. Then again, the overall it handles like a Bf109 G2 but without practically with the armament of the additional gun ports, but without their drag because the guns are mounted in the wing into the wings themselves. Yes, the plane is not an E7, a Bf109 E7 in terms of maneuverability, but it's really nice. If you catch Spitfires off guard, you actually can turn with them to a certain degree. This doesn't really feel like a turn fighter, but like an energy slash boom and zoom fighter, and that is what I like, when then they also can turn with the enemies to such a degree that you actually can point the guns onto the target once, and that's mostly all that I need. So yeah, here I used a trick to turn away from the P-47 and turning back on him. He goes awfully slow into a climb. He underestimated my power in the engine and a short burst while he goes sideways on, and I get the kill. So yeah, as you might have noticed, I put several battles into this video right now. Again, it's our first impressions. Then I have to say the win rate is exceptional high with this plane. Now why is that? Well, it seems like from the feeling that just the most aggressive and capable players actually bought the G.55S, and you have kind of a meta like with German teams in their best times. They stick together, they work together, they kill the enemies. Not a lot of kill stealing, not a lot of team killing, so it's very enjoyable. And I think when you purchase this plane right now, it performs really well. I give you no guarantee if or when Gaijin changes anything about the patch. You know, they might readjust the damage models and the gun damage output, which I think they should not do. But you know, at the end of the day, it's up to Gaijin. So just to give you some insight into my statistics, I fought 16 battles, I won 14 out of them. That's 87.5% win ratio. For all you statistic fans out there, I died 6 times, but I killed 28 planes with it, and as many ground units. When the battle was over, I strafed certain AAA and artillery positions. And yeah, I think the RP income with a premium account and with some low percentage booster like 10-15%, in some cases even 30% booster, varied between 10,000 and 14,000 research points per match. And yeah, I think that is very enjoyable, and if you can manage manual engine control, this plane will serve you very, very nicely. Two things that I want to point out. On this plane, the MG151 works with two things at the same time. Why is that? Well, it's simply you bring them on target much more often, like with Focke-Wulfs and Bf-109s, at least I do so. And the smooth handling is so nice, I have to say. It makes just the difference for me. I always ranted about the time since I began to make YouTube content. I was criticized for that, but this plane practically proves me right. In many respects, I think this plane is also a little bit better than the Japanese, what is it, Ki-61s with the MG151s. They just seem to work. And I again have to point out, it makes just the difference. It makes the difference. When you get 2, 3, 4 kills per match, it's just awesome. I did not have an ace game, sadly, because the rest of my team, they were interested in kills as well. We had a lot of games where we were just G.55Ss and nothing but them, and in a few games there were just a few Germans with us, but later that day it changed a little bit, so that we had kind of a 50-50 ratio. Overall, yeah, that's about it. Then also on Sicily, I found out that even with air targets under 20mm, you now can destroy AI tanks from the top, and also you have an air-to-ground hit cam, which is really nice. Now you drastically improve your tank destruction capabilities if you switch to the armored belt, of course. But I have to say, it surprised the hell out of me that this API round, together with the incendiary tracer round, do enough damage to a tank in one burst to blow it up. Those are the Matildas. You should aim for the engine deck, and then you can potentially make the last kill. Now the belt selection is obviously 1-to-1, the same from the Germans, and yeah, I'm very looking forward to spade all those planes that I'm currently now researching, and you can expect a lot of footage from them. I have not seen too many players with the regular planes in the tech tree, and I have to say the behavior of the enemy teams were quite funny, as especially the Americans with their buffed 50 cals thought they could take now on any head-on, which is a foolish mistake. So back to the battle. I am here observing the rest of my team destroying the last Mustang from dislike, I guess. And now just 2 enemies are left. One seems to be a bomber, and the other one I have no idea to this point what it is. So I then think to myself, well, I want to at least intercept the bomber if I'm not too late for that on its way home. So I then also write if somebody has a blind hunt and if anybody wants to use it. So yeah, I think really what just baffled me was the easiness of this plane, because I thought to myself, you know, maybe it's like with those B-409s that can't roll and just have this very, very bad correction character if you want to correct your aim, and they just wobble all over the place, which I absolutely dislike. Not so much this one. Yes, a little bit you still feel the impact of certain German flight models, but at the end of the day, it's vastly improved. It's just so much easier. So at this point, that was the last enemy that I would ever have the fortune to get my cannons on, and I'm now off to ground striking. So that's basically it with this match, although at the end of the video there is one particular scene that might baffle you. I have mentioned it before. Now let's talk about the rest of the patch. Again, I have not played tanks, but I have looked through the tech trees, of course, and I have to say there are a lot of vehicles that I have to respade, both planes and also tanks, especially with the tanks, the what is it, the smoke shells and the smoke launchers. I really have to investigate it, especially for the German ones with the 128 on the mouse and the 100, but it seems like it's the 75. Now, due to the high rate of fire, I expect you to be able to, oh, it is indeed the 75mm. You can lay a smoke screen that just covers your entire tank. You have enough ammunition, and I think that's awesome. Not so awesome is the 54,000 research point cost for that module alone. Yeah. It has no armor piercing effect, by the way, except maybe the bigger from 75mm onwards. They have a TNT charge in the smoke shell of 50 grams. Maybe if you hit a potato truck with it, I don't know. Yeah, so there's that. Also, it seems like the Leopards have smoke grenades and they're vastly cheaper, just 25,000 research points for a tier 1 module, seems alright. And yeah, also the Americans. What I'm really, I mean, wow, it's like nearly every American medium tank has that, and also the heavy tanks. That means a lot of respading, Wow, yeah, that is really a lot of work. Then also for the Germans, there's one particular vehicle, a Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-2, the Puma. And 2.7 battle rating, yeah, I like that. I really like that. top speed of 90 kilometers an hour. I'm very interested into the power output of the engine and the ground resistance stats, if it really bumps around the battlefield or if it's just another vehicle that is not as good as anticipated. So at the end of the day, I am really looking forward to discover all the changes. Like for example this one, you could see it. This is with air targets, and I destroyed a Matilda medium tank. So that's it for this battle. So let's have a quick look at the post-battle results, and we can see for the 4 kills and 3 ground units destroyed, I got 120,000 silver lines and nearly 14,000 vehicle research points without any boosters being applied. So let me know in the comment section what your experiences with this new patch are. Do you think it's great? Do you think it's mediocre? Do you think you expected something different? Let me know. Anyways, give this video a like if it did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.